Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is Naruto by Masashi Kishimoto. Wrapping up yet another manga nostalgia episode. Very interesting going through these things again. So Naruto is the last of the big three from, I guess, the turn of the century, really 2000, 1999, etc. I think Naruto was, yeah. He first did it in 1997, and then in 1999 it was published in the Weekly Shonen Jump. But yeah, as I mentioned in previous videos, Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece were really the big three stories going on in the Weekly Shonen Jump in Japan right around the late 90s going into the 2000s. They were brought over to the United States in the early 2000s. Translated in much smaller versions of this. This is a 3-in-1, which honestly, if you wanted to get manga for really cheap, this is the best way to do it, is the 3-in-1s published by Viz and Shonen Jump. But yeah, Naruto, probably of the big three that was there, even though it didn't necessarily last the longest, this series, Naruto, and its sort of somewhat continuation series, Naruto Shippuden, I can't even pronounce it, but whatever. They ended a while back. By the way, I'm not a big fan of the ending of this series, but I will say for like 30-something volumes, Naruto was pretty damn good. Like, really damn good. I think for the run that it was going, I would actually say it was better than One Piece and Bleach. The ending sucks, and since we don't really have an ending for One Piece, we can't really judge One Piece. I will say, in terms of consistency, I would put One Piece above Naruto, and in terms of likable protagonists, I would put Bleach above both of them, just me personally. That being said, Naruto, you could probably argue, was one of the ones that had the most cultural effect. I mean, we still see it today, people with the little nerdy weeb Naruto headbands at like conventions and other sort of anime expo sort of things. The characters are kind of synonymous with nerd weeb culture, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. And a lot of the fights and sort of internet weeb drama around Naruto is kind of interesting. I kind of take the perspective of Naruto as someone who read it actually when it kind of first got translated into manga books, and you used to go to like, I forget what, like, it was either like Borders or Barnes and Noble started slowly having like the first manga collected volume on their shelves, and I remember picking it up. And yeah, it's good stuff, man. Again, let me get into this. I'm kind of ranting a little bit too long here. But yeah, Naruto, exactly like One Piece and exactly like Bleach, starts off with a long graphic novel. You see here the opening is Uzumaki Naruto, the main character, and it is about 55 pages or so, very similar to One Piece, Romance Dawn, and Bleach, Death and Strawberry. So again, what you get is basically a graphic novel length story of Naruto, and you get this, amazing opener right here showing you the world, and immediately your first impression of Naruto is him being kind of a little brat and a trickster, basically a troublemaker of all sorts, right? And you're given what's very fascinating when I look back at this first issue is Naruto is only introduced by himself. There's not really many main characters introduced in this first graphic novel compared to what the series would translate to. You got the Hokage and you got the Iruka, his sensei, but mainly it's focused on Naruto, his situation, who he is, why you would like him, and also kind of immersing you into this fantasy ninjutsu world. I know this has kind of been said a bunch of times, and I know Naruto fans probably hate hearing this, but I have to basically mention, when I try to describe Naruto to people who don't really read manga or are interested in that anime Japanophile sort of culture, I basically say it's Harry Potter with ninjas is the best way to describe it. And I know there's going to be some people who hate that I say that, but I don't consider it an insult to the series. I mean, Harry Potter is like one of the highest selling works of fiction of all time, and Naruto is one of the highest selling manga of all time. Only behind a couple real classic mangas and One Piece itself, right? So what's really great about this first opening story is it focuses heavily on Naruto, who he is, and why you as Kishimoto does a really good job of making you not only invested in the character and like him by the time you're done with this 55-page opener, but you really feel sympathetic and also interested in him and his situation. It has some great action, some great emotion. One thing about Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach, really Naruto and One Piece more so than Bleach, is both of these two series do a very good job of just creating emotional stakes for the readers. It's one thing that I think American comics, especially modern American comics nowadays, can learn a lot from the Japanese, which is don't underestimate the power of human emotions and being basically being attached into this character. If you pick these up, even if you hate weeb culture and all the other stuff, if you just read it objectively, you come to really like this character and be almost committed to what's going to happen to him, right? And this can drive you to read like freaking 30, 40 of these things by the time you're done. Manga gets a little insane with the sheer volume of characters and whatnot. But again, this story, like Bleach, like One Piece, follows a Western style plot development. You have, an introduction of the main characters. You have their situation, their struggle. You bring about, conflict, climax, and by the end of the story, the initial conflict is resolved. The character's in a better place than he was before, and you end up really getting into it. And what these manga all really do when they open up in their first series is they complete a story, but they leave you enough that you're really interested in where this character is going to go in this amazing world that they've just established in 55 pages. It's really, really brilliant, in my opinion, when I look back on these old Shonen Jump mangas. And I'm not saying they're perfect. Certainly, I'm not a big fan of the way this series ended. And there's some ups and downs where I'm not necessarily was super interested in what was going on in Naruto in certain runs. But just the pure structured brilliance of these manga and just the fundamental storytelling that they do, it's no surprise that they just absolutely destroyed comics when they came out, because around 2000 comic books had kind of forsaken that basic structural storytelling, and they'd gone to basically nihilistic, especially the 2000s. 2000s was the era of Grant Morrison, Bendis, Garth Ennis, Mark Millar. They had kind of abandoned that kind of storytelling to these decompressed, very nihilistic storylines that honestly, like when I go back and read through them again, like Civil War and all the others, it's just like I go back through the 2000 and I find that the comics of that era, they don't age very well. Kind of like 90s image art, honestly. But yeah, anyhow, Naruto is great. You can pick this massive tome up just like the other 3-in-1s for $15. Probably cheaper on like Amazon or eBay. Again, print quality really sucks. But if you're used to like the smaller book format that manga comes in, you're not going to mind, and this is going to be totally worth it. To do it in this format. Anyhow, let's go to some art here. So I am actually I'm not happy with this piece like previous other pieces. It's not that great. Definitely maybe some more work on the features here. Oh, by the way, this is sort of sequential storying. This is kind of like me redrawing or sort of visually storytelling Naruto using his harem no jutsu to mess with his teacher Iruka. And if you wanted to word this right, you would kind of have some more thought bubbles of Iruka kind of teaching Naruto and all this other stuff. And then you pop this out, and he does the usual manga thing of very strict male character being embarrassed about a bunch of boobies and nudity, right? By the way, if you can't see this is clouds. If I was going to finish the inks, I would fill this in. I'm not happy about this leg. This leg feels out. I feel like if this leg comes out, this should be bigger because it's in front of you. I'm just like looking at it right now. But what I am happy about is how fast I did this. I think I'm kind of getting to a point right now where it's not necessarily that I'm angry or I'm impatient, but more like I'm just getting into the drawing a lot. And then I kind of like let it go, and instead of just freaking out and trying to perfect it, just draw it, then look back on it, and then the next one you do, try to take what you learned from the mistakes of this one and take it into the next one, right? So amazingly enough, I penciled this in about, I think, an hour, maybe less than an hour. Really fast. This is not Bristol, by the way. It's just cardstock. I use these because they're 11 by 17 and they allow me to do American comic book format for a lot cheaper because I can get a crap ton of these. They're terrible for ink. The ink usually flows through it, so I only do penciling. But it's a really good practice for getting the borders right. So you take 1 inch right here, ½ inch right here, 1 inch off the top, ½ inch off the side, and you have the American 15 by 10 format. So not bad. You know, it definitely lessons to learn, especially about foreshortening for the future. But I was really happy about mainly enjoying drawing this and also how fast I drew it. Anyhow, that's the video. Let me know what you think. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Hit the bell for notifications. If you got any comments about Naruto or this art that I did, leave it down below. And I will see you next time.